Being a Longhorn is opportunity, pride, achievement, community, safety. Being a Longhorn is a choice to become a hero, to lead, to thrive in any setting. Being a Longhorn means immersing yourself in fine arts, learning at your own pace in Montessori, starting your path to college in elementary, earning a college degree in high school. The pride of being a Longhorn lives on long after graduation. Educate, empower, inspire.
Hi, and welcome to the Cedar Hill ISD Mind Over Matter Student Panel Part 2. I am your host, Keelan Rossum, and I am a senior here at Cedar Hill High School, and I'm also an in-person learner. Now, today we've gathered 4 students from both Cedar Hill High School and Collegiate High School who are going to help us answer some much-needed questions that need answering about learning throughout this year. So first we have Katrina. She goes to Collegiate. Why don't you tell us what grade you're in and if you're an online or in-person learner?
Hello, my name is Katrina Ambulo. I'm a senior at Cedar Hill Collegiate High School, and I am an online learner.
Next we have Jacob, also from Cedar Hill Collegiate High School.
Hello, my name is Jacob Garza, and as you said, I am a senior at Cedar Hill Collegiate High School, and I'm also an online learner.
Next we have Elijah here at the Cedar Hill High School.
Hi, my name is Elijah. I'm a senior at Cedar Hill High School, and I am an online learner.
And lastly, we have Kevin, also here at the high school.
As you already know, I am Kevin Wilkins. I am a sophomore at Cedar Hill High School, and I am an in-person learner.
Okay. Now, before we get started with the questions, I want to know how everyone's doing throughout the pandemic, how they're learning and being successful. Why don't you start us off, Katrina?
So it definitely hasn't been the easiest transition, especially being hit by a pandemic towards the end of junior year. I've definitely had very mixed feelings about the whole thing, especially since my senior year is online and it's our last year of high school, and it's definitely not what I envisioned. But I feel like since I've been doing this for a year, I've gotten used to it and just accepted the fact that this is, the new normal. And I've been able to navigate through my senior year fairly easily. And I also started working last summer. I've been able to have some sort of social interaction to keep me sane while I balance school. But overall, I think this year has definitely been a huge adjustment and a huge period of growth for me.
Wow. Jacob, why don't you tell us how you're doing this year?
Well, compared to last year, I'm doing great. It was definitely a roller coaster ride in the beginning. But normal is no longer a word in my vocabulary. But since summer, to get used to the pandemic over the summer, I think that senior year has been better than what I had imagined it to be. I was bummed out that we were going to be behind a computer for my senior year, but like Katrina said, I've accepted the fact and I'm just looking forward for the future. And given that, I've been given more opportunities to focus on college and after high school.
Wow. How about you, Elijah? What's going on?
Well, the biggest thing for me was I had to accept that this is still school. So I had to treat it as such. So I put myself in a school environment at my home. But also, not only did I have to realize that it was school, I had to put myself in the perspective to look at the benefits that can come with this. So changing my perspective and being more optimistic over the situation really helped me in the school setting.
Okay, well, Kevin, why don't you go next?
So yeah, the pandemic definitely has been a transition and an adjustment for me. When it comes to navigating through the pandemic, when it comes to school and all that, um, it hasn't. I've adjusted very well, and I've grown to be successful in school by contacting my classmates and making sure that we all understand the things that we're learning. That's when I was in online school. When I came to school, in-person school, things became a lot better, and I was allowed to socialize with my classmates. I was allowed to understand the subjects that my teachers were teaching a lot more because I was actually in person. And doing that helped me a lot when it comes to navigating through the pandemic.
I understand. Now, I want to start us off by asking Jacob, because there's been a lot of questions about the STAR test this year. Why don't you tell us about how that's working?
So yes, there were several questions regarding the STAR test. And since the state of Texas determines all things STAR, the state of Texas has decided that students will take the STAR test and EOCs this year. This is not something CHISD can change. So make sure you check your chisd.net email and the weekly newsletters from your principals to get information about when the test is and when tutoring sessions will be offered.
Thank you. Now I want to go ahead and hand it over to Elijah because students have had a lot of questions about how to contact their teachers.
Email. Email is always the best way to get in contact with our teachers. But they also have an option on Schoology where you can use their messaging system to get in contact with them if you need. But I suggest email because it personally gives me a faster response. Yes.
Do you have any more tips, especially for our online scholars who are struggling to learn online? Do you have any more tips that you could give?
Of course. Well, to elaborate on what I said a little bit earlier, get up, get dressed like it's school, put yourself in a formal environment so that you can focus as if it's school. You have to kind of separate the fact that you're home, where you're used to being comfortable at, and realize that, you still have to get things done. You can't always lay around. So follow a schedule. You can create a schedule that it feels more like school, do the same thing consistently, follow up the schedule. Don't just make it and not stick to it. So I like to separate myself from my room, even though I'm in it now. If I'm in my room, I'm at my desk, but I usually go, in the living area and sit the bar and just, focus. Also, I did this for myself too. When you log on to Schoology, you might see at the side where they have upcoming assignments. Although it might seem easier to just click it and go down the row, I suggest going into the actual learning folder. That way you can ensure that you do not miss any of your assignments. And I know some teachers, they offer virtual tutoring also. So I know personally, I've seen my teachers have synchronized learning sections, in the learning folder. And they also say that, if we need any help, just email them, like I said earlier, to get in contact with them and set up your own tutoring sections. But yes, take advantage of that because you can get a more in-depth learning. You won't feel so alone and like you're all on your own and you're not really learning. You can still get that teacher-student feel. But yeah, and then make sure you're going to bed at a decent time too, because I know personally I struggle with staying up late, sometimes all night, and then in the morning, I'm waking up late. I'm not following my schedule, doing my days off, But yes, make sure you're going to sleep at a decent time and get off of TikTok. And remember to put your priorities first.
Okay, so Kevin, there's been a lot of questions based off of who can come back to school. Like, is it based off of grades or how would we go about if we're an online student wanting to come back to in-person learning?
So it's actually not based off grades or anything. CHISD is allowing all students to come back, whether you're passing or failing. If you feel like you would like to go from the online environment to the in-person environment, you could do two things. One, you could check your emails and your newsletters from your campus principal. and you could have your parents directly contact your principal through emails.
And lastly, I want to ask Katrina, there's been some questions and concerns about how to get a district issued Chromebook. How do we go about getting one of those?
So per the district, the distribution of Chromebooks to students started this week. For general information surrounding this initiative, parents and students can visit chisd.net/powerup. However, for specific times and dates regarding distribution, parents can check their email.
Well, that's all the questions we have for today, folks. Why doesn't everybody share what their future career plans and pathways are for after they graduate? Katrina, why don't you go ahead and start us off?
So after graduating, and this is not fully set in stone for me, but I plan on attending Texas Tech University in Lubbock, and I will be majoring in communication studies.
Communications. Jacob, what are your plans for after graduation?
Well, none of my plans are set in stone yet. I'm still looking at a few options for me to take, but I do know that I will be majoring in political science and minoring in law and legal reasoning.
Oh, wow. Elijah, what are your plans for after graduation?
Okay. Well, I do plan on attending a Dallas Promise County Promise Pledge College.
Right.
So I will be taking advantage of that. But while I'm doing that, I'm also going to be focusing on my own business. And yes, I'm just going to use the Promise to further my career and me becoming a art director, which is my dream.
Wow, a choir director.
Art director.
Kevin, I know you're a sophomore, but do you have any idea?
Yeah, I am just a sophomore, so I do have a lot of time to think. But as of right now, I do want to attend Prairie View University. I think I want to major in architecture, actually. I think I major in architecture. That'd be my plans after high school.
Well, my personal plans are like nothing's set in stone, but after graduation in 56 days, I do plan on going to college, but not sure which college, but I'm gonna major in film regardless to be eventually become my own filmmaker and own my own production studio. So that's all the time we have for today, folks.
Thank you.
Thank you.